Podcast. You're with your host Julian Lee. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Mark Collins and Mike Montague. Welcome to the show, guests.
Thank you.
Had to do a bit of editing on the fly, which is never good, but we got there. All right, we're going to play Jeopardy, then we're going to meet our fantastic guests and learn about all the wonderful things they're doing. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Ready.
All right, we've got two people, so we've got less questions. Next round. Okay, we've had a bit of a fail, and we don't let these things bother us. We'll pretend they don't. Alright, let's try that again. Not sure what happened there. Okay, the good old technical glitch. Okay, just ignore the dead air. Now, why did this work? 828. Alright, let's see what happens this time. I'm too scared to go to the next round. Let's have a look. Next round. There we go. That worked. Woo! Alright, that was fantastic professional podcasting, which is what we do in this show. Alright, the categories are winter sports, 70s movies, American food and drink, science, and famous artists. Mr. Montague on the left, you can kick things off.
Well, I'm in the middle of America, so I will go America food and drink for 200.
Food and drink for 200. 5,600-year-old samples of this movie treat have been found in New Mexico caves.
I'm going to go with popcorn.
Popcorn sounds good to me. And you got to be quick. You can jump in. I could see Mark nodding away. But you got it? Mike, you're in control.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a buzz or if I just go.
Just holler.
With my question.
All right, you're in control. Mike, what would you like?
I'll take American food and drink for 1,000.
Oh, actually, Mike, that was. Sorry. Mike?
Mike's turn.
I keep it. Yeah, I'll go 400. Yeah, we'll keep going.
Yeah, we got Mike's and Mark's. It's a bit confusing. 400 angel food cake was supposedly created in the Missouri city. Angel food cake. Now, do they want to know this? So, is Missouri a city or state?
Missouri is a state. I am in Missouri, believe it or not.
Wow.
Kansas City, Missouri. And I haven't heard this one before, but I'm going to say Branson, Missouri.
Branson, Missouri. Let's take a look. It is St. Louis. Angel cake.
The other side of the state.
Do they have a baseball team called the Angels? No, that's in California. All right. Well, you're still in control, Mike.
Let's keep going. 600.
600 American food and drink. Start by steeping in a glass crushed. Oh, need a comma. Start by steeping in a glass crushed leaves in sugar syrup. I mean, it sounds like that thing they drink down in Georgia.
Yeah, sweet tea.
Let's take a look. A mint julep. Anyone heard of that?
Heard of it, didn't drink it.
Vaguely heard of it. All right, you're still in control, Mike.
I'm going to clear this category. I'm going to need to get some points back here. Let's go 800.
800. Only 1% of Americans enjoy this spicy seafood dish native to New England. Massheads.
Jeez. Clam chowder.
Clam chowder. That's how they say it too. Let's take a look. It's correct. Well done. All right, you've got 800 points there, and you're still in control. Remember that Simpsons episode? Sorry, I was just remembering a Simpsons episode where he says, "Say chowder." All right, 1,000 American food and drink. In 1992, a food with this root vegetable became the world's best-selling snack food.
Oh,
What's the best? What I mean, every party.
Potato chips.
Let's go. Is correct. Mark's on the board. 1,000 points, and you've taken the lead in one fell swoop. Continuing, you're in control now, Mark. What would you like?
Winter sports for 200.
Winter sports for 200. Contrary to popular legend, mush isn't a command usually used in these races.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it the one they do
Dog
with...
sled?
Dog sled, that's it. I was going to say huskies. Dog sled races is correct. Mike has wrestled back control. He is not to be trifled with. Continuing on.
Let's keep going. 400.
400 winter sports. In 6 of the first 7 Winter Olympics, Canadian teams took the gold in this sport.
Hockey.
Hockey, it's got to be. They love hockey. Hockey's correct. Well done. You're in control. Mark.
600.
600 winter sports. Participants can sail through this sport at speeds over 100 miles per hour.
Bobsled.
I'm going to pause because I think it could be something else.
What do they call that?
Time's up. Let's take a look. It
Skeleton.
is ice sailing.
Ice sailing.
Sailing. Oh,
So,
I'll take the loss on that.
Yeah, because they said they could sail to 100 miles per hour. I knew it would be some sort of sailing.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, now, who's in control? Is it Mark?
It's Mike.
Mike. Mike's in control. What would you like? Winter sports?
800.
800. The first artificial bobsled run was built in 1904 at this Swiss resort town. Swiss resort town? Don't know any Swiss towns. They got that mountain, the Matterhorn. Let's take a look. That one's tough.
Swiss
St.
mountains.
Moritz. Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. St. Moritz. All right, still in control. Mike.
1,000.
1,000. A rink of players. It's the number of persons on a curling team. That's where they run.
Ooh, 3.
3. So I think Mark got that one first. Let's take a look. 4 is the answer.
Oh, no.
You forgot about the dude with the broom, maybe. All right, Mike, you're in control still.
Let's go 70s movies. I wasn't
70s
really
movies
born yet.
for
We'll figure it out.
200. He was Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story. Oh, who played him? Buddy Holly. There was a later Buddy Holly, maybe. For some reason, I'm thinking Kevin Bacon, but Kevin Bacon would have been too young. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Anyone got an idea?
This was the
Gary
200.
Busey. There we
Oh,
go.
wow.
That would have been quite a rendition of Buddy Holly. I'm not sure if he was as crazy then as he is now. All right, you're still in control. Mike.
400.
470s movies. Sadly for Tom Selleck fans, Genevieve Bujold didn't solve the mystery before he lapsed into this. 70s movies. There'll be those kind of quirky comedy love movies like Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty. Tom Selleck had a similar one, but I can't remember what it's called. Anyone remember?
No.
It is Coma. Oh,
Coma.
Oh, wow.
he lapsed
Yes, he
into a
would.
coma.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, still in control. Shall we do 600?
Go for it.
Go for it. One of the few sequels to critically surpass the original, this film won Best Picture for 1974.
Godfather Part 2.
Godfather Part 2, starring Al Pacino, is correct. Is Robert De
Nice.
Niro in that one as well? Number 2?
I
Or is
think
he
so.
the first one? I can't remember. Well done. You got it right. Let's do 800. By escorting Randy Quaid to prison in 1973, Jack Nicholson and Otis Young carried out this title task. Some of these are very obscure. Escorting Randy Quaid to prison. I would say my guess would be Bounty Hunter. Let's take a look. The Last Detail.
Okay.
Never heard of it. All right, still in control, Mike. Let's finish off 70s movies. 2 films of the Vietnam battlefront and home front that took 1978's top 5 Oscars. Vietnam Wars movies.
Deer Hunter and Apocalypse Now.
Oh, look at that. Are they both
Nice.
by Coppola? Let's take a look. Well, Deer Hunter and Coming Home. Who did Coming Home?
Uh-oh.
That was the first one that dealt with the real kind of flashbacks and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Still in control, Mike.
Mark never gets to be in control, but I will take
Briefly, for one question.
famous artists for 200.
Famous artist 200. Sculptor of the Lincoln Memorial.
Jeez, I don't know who did that. I just saw it this year for the first time. I have no idea.
Do we have any famous American sculptors, or did they ship one in from Italy or something?
I'm sure we do. We're just, unfortunately, they're not famous to us.
They're not famous, no. Well, let's take a look. It is Daniel Chester French. Anyone remember that name?
No.
No. Not quite as famous. All right, would you like 400 or would you like science?
400.
400. The artist's paintings include the Bridge of Arcole and the umbrellas. Famous artists. I'm not really, I only know the main ones. Your Rembrandts, your Leonardo. Anything outside of that, I'm really going to struggle. My wife would probably know this. Let's take a look. It is too small for me to read. Gustave Doré.
There you go.
There you go. Probably a great artist as well. All right, let's do 600. Mike, the only artist ever to have his works shown at the Louvre before his death.
Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol. Let's take a look.
I was going to go Dali.
Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres.
So close.
Oh,
I like
I
what
had
you-
one of his paintings in my
Did
house,
you?
too.
Wow. Well, you should see if you can find it. It's probably worth something.
No, not at all.
Not at all. All right.
800.
800. The artist painted The Fall of Icarus, or Icarus, or I think it's Icarus. Icarus is the one that went too close to the sun, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who painted that? Oh, look, I tell you what, it's got to be. My guess is the Sistine Chapel guy.
Michelangelo.
Oh, Michelangelo?
Let's take a look. Bum steer. Peter Bergol the Elder. Never heard of him. 1,000 famous artists. The Greek artist who made the statue of Zeus at Olympia. Who did all the statues? I mean, ancient Greece. Who knows? Roman Caesar times. Let's take a look. Nobody knows. Well, actually, Greeks is not where the Romans were. That shows you how dumb I am. It is Phidias. Or is it Phineas? Phidias.
Phidias.
All right, we've been avoiding science. We need to get straight into that. 200 science.
Let's go.
Let's do. In 1977, the first interstellar radio signal was picked up in this state. Which state had all of the gear for listening to the moon and stuff? Was it Florida, where they've launched them, or
Yeah, I'll go Houston.
Houston? We've got a problem. Let's take a look. It was Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Didn't
no.
they definitely launched from Houston. Did they also launch from Florida?
They launch from Florida and then they control from Houston. But I have no idea what was in
gotcha.
Ohio.
Yeah, Cape Canaveral was the one I was thinking. All right, science for 400. Humans carry this much of their body weight in blood. How much of the old liquid do we lug around? What percentage?
70%, I thought.
70%. That sounds good to me. 10%. 10%.
Oh, so close.
You know what it is? 70% of us is water.
That's right.
Yeah. That's what it is, yeah. All right, 600 science. Natural science concerned with the study of the universe. It starts with an A, and it's not the
Astronomy.
Not the one you read.
Astronomy.
Yep. Astronomy's correct. I thought you might say astrology, which I always do. 800 science. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee proposed the concept of this system of internet linking.
Hyperlinks, HTML.
I'll accept either of those. Oh, the World Wide Web, I'm going to pay it. You got the gist of it. Because that's what it is. All right, last question. Technically, the study of plant life. Botany is correct. Well done. That was 1,000 points. And there we have it. We have finished with Mike on 2,400. Mark just firing off big questions, maybe 2 or 3 of them. Got 3,000 points. Well done. That's a round of applause. Ended up being a close game. Wonderful.
Exciting.
How exciting!
It definitely came down to those $1,000 questions.
Yes, it did, didn't it? You've and they're supposed to be the hardest ones. So, well done, both of you. All right, now let's go to Mike. Now, tell us a little bit about what you're up to. You've got lots of things going on: speaker, podcaster, writer, and tell us about speaking. I guess how'd you get into that?
Hello.
Oh,
yeah. I have been an entertainer for a long time. So I started as a DJ in bars and clubs, and then got on the radio, then went into sales training and public speaking and social media. And then I became a game show host in the pandemic. And so I've been doing that for the last 4 years. And I have a website called Playful Humans. There's a playful personality quiz. There's a show where I interview people who play for a living, like artists, magicians, jugglers, voiceover actors, anybody that's living the dream and playing for a living, having fun and making money at it. And it's been a really great time.
Well, that's cool. And yeah, there's definitely something to be said for. I'll always think about artists and people who make music and stuff, and how I always envy them. Look, it's such talent, but it would be such a good way to live. Tell us about your game show, Mike. You have a proper game show, unlike this one, I take it.
No, this has been awesome. I do virtual game shows for people and like corporate events and team building exercises and stuff. I auditioned for a company out of California during the pandemic and really kept me busy during the quarantine. Did shows for like Facebook, Google, and all kinds of big California companies. And then I auditioned for a company in Kansas City called the Game Show Battle Rooms, where it's sort of like an escape room model. You can book the room for an hour and I host a game show for you. And there's a producer with lights and sound and music. And we play famous TV game shows similar to Family Feud, Price is Right. We do not do Jeopardy because questions are tough for a wide variety of people. But we do different ones like the Minute to Win It challenges, like physical challenges and stuff,
nice.
Or the match game, which is fun for families and team building.
Hey, that's awesome, Mike. So these are live events, and this is so much. Oh, before I say this, Mark, are you a speaker?
I do speak, yes.
Okay. Well, I was going to say this is a very unique way of speaking, and it's one of those things where it just appeals and it sounds like fun. And what types of people do you do this for?
Usually corporate events. So occasionally there is a large family gathering. I've done a game show for a wedding rehearsal party, and they did Family Feud versus each family. I'm not sure that's a great thing to do before the night before the wedding. They all had a blast with it, but usually it's a corporate event, team building outing when you have done all the trust falls that you can do, and you've done all the escape rooms in your city and other stuff. Are especially the virtual ones. They're fun. We break up into teams and do games and physical challenges. And
so you do virtual stuff as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and you do live events as well?
Yep. It depends on whoever I run into or the size of the teams and stuff. My favorite ones are the really large live corporate events. Like you would picture like a sales kickoff or a conference with 100 people up to like I've done 1,200 people on different teams. And we just have to change the technology, do different games to buzz in or ways to keep track of scores and stuff. But it's a good time.
That's awesome. And I'm just intrigued about the logistics of doing that in live. What do you have a whole bunch of gear and electronic stuff? It sounds like a nightmare. Like that would stress me out.
Once you get to 1,200 people, you generally have to go to their cell phones for buzzers.
Gotcha.
There are programs on the internet and stuff that will let them buzz in and answer questions on their phone.
And then how does the online virtual events work? So say you're doing a company and sales team or something. Is everyone on their phones or are they at their work computers?
Usually just work computers, and we use Zoom because that's what everybody can do these days. So we'll set up a Zoom and we'll send teams into breakout rooms. So like give them a Family Feud question and then send them to a breakout room for 2 minutes to come up with their top 5 answers to the question and come back. And that works really well. Or they can, type in the answers to a Price is Right question in the chat, and whoever's closest without going over wins the money for their team.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea. And when did you start this whole thing, Mike?
It was about 6 months into the pandemic. So it was June of 2020 and really took off that holiday season. And really haven't looked back since. Been pretty busy.
And how did you sell it when you first launched?
Just virtual engagement. People looking to do fun things. They didn't know what to do because their holiday parties were canceled and everything. So they were trying to come up with some sort of way to fill in that gap, and it really fit nicely. And now it continues because there's still so many people working remotely or distributed teams around the world. I think one of the largest virtual ones I've done, we did 4 different time zones throughout the day. So we had to do one for, the Asia Pacific, one for Europe, and then one in the United States time zones. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome. And something changed with the pandemic. Now it's just totally normal. You can actually people do personal training virtually, and before that, it would be really hard to convince people. But so it's people are a lot more receptive to it. That's awesome. And what is your ideal client, I guess, Mike?
Really, anybody that wants to have more fun in their life or career. I have a book coming out this year called Playful Humans as well. So that's the name of the podcast, the website, the game show, and the book. But if you're tired of the boring events or you just want to spice up an otherwise heavy one, so people that hire me really are people where they've had like really boring technical conferences, or they're like, we're going to subject people to 4 hours of learning about a new cybersecurity platform or something. And then at the end, they want to play a game or reward them or break it up in the middle. Those people call me a lot.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. The reason is, I've done a lot of training stuff where I've attended as an employee, and it's just so boring and, PowerPoint presentations, and you don't learn anything. And you can have all that stuff, but you got to have fun. And, I'm pro fun. That's kind of why I do the podcast this way. So I really think that's awesome. So if you want to check that out,
I love this format.
Check out what Mike's doing. You can do it virtually, or you can get him to bring all his buzzers and have a big event. What area do you operate in? Do you mostly around the home area of Missouri, or do you go anywhere
Yeah,
else?
usually in the United States. Had a Canadian event last week, but if the budget fits, I'll go anywhere or figure it out. We can always find a way to make the game show happen.
Yeah, you can figure it out. You just might have to pay to ship him across the country, but it could be worth it. So have a look at what Mike's doing. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Mike, for coming on. And
Thank you.
I'll put the link in the show notes. So if you want to check out what Mike's doing and have a bit of fun, then do so. All right, over to our next guest, Mark Collins. Welcome, and tell us a bit about your story, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you ask what I do for a living, I'm a business and life coach, and it came from my own business background and development. And come to find out, when I was working in business, you kind of have those challenges and issues and fears and things that are standing in the way of kind of really maximizing who you are in your business relationship and life. And what I found when doing it was success didn't take it away. And so I created for myself a personal development program called Life Mastery, wrote a book, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default, so that you can have the success that you desire in your business, your relationships, and life, but not have what I call the fear of failure, anxiety come along for the ride.
Awesome. And so is it freedomforlife.net?
freedom-for-life.net is my website where, I'm a one-stop shop. That's where you can purchase my book, my courses. I have a free diagnostic tool that you can take as well.
All right. Tell us about your diagnostic stuff. What does that
absolutely
do?
Well, I call it a discovery tool. You can see it there in the header. And really what it allows you to do is, in our language, it's life mastery, or living life on purpose. And so you take the quick survey, 40 questions, get a score at the end. It'll let you know where you're at in that journey, your life mastery journey, and how you could take that next step, really how you can go from wherever you're at, whatever level of success. I find, Julie, in that I'm working with people who are highly successful in business, or those who are just starting out, or people who have a job. But the challenge is that the success doesn't stop them from having the challenges coming along, the fear of failure and whatever. So that diagnostic tool just kind of gives you a quick aha moment, hopefully, of figuring out where you're at. And then from there, being able to say, hey, what's that next step I can take to get better, to really maximize what I want to do in life.
And you've got a few courses there. Which ones is the sort of bread and butter one that most people do?
Yeah, so great question for the people like myself who want, the whole program now. That's the Life Mastery course. It's the one in green on the page. And so that's the one that'll have all the bells and whistles, all the tools and strategies. Introduction to Freedom really is kind of helping you to understand that, hey, maybe there's a paradigm shift that you can have. So you start to understand a language and understand, what kind of steps can I take today to have an impact this week. And the Life Mastery Acceleration tools, I see are like the Audi that my wife and I have. You can drive in drive, or you can drive in the sport mode, which is a totally different experience. The acceleration tools or training gives you that acceleration of life mastery. But Life Mastery, the course itself, will give you an A to Z approach to being able to have strategies and tools to really have an impact. That roadmap, I say, to the success and the fulfillment that you desire.
Awesome. And you sort of did mention a little bit, but what types of business people do you mostly work with?
Yeah, it's really not in an industry specific, but it's that person who's striving to succeed in business, or they have. But what they're finding is that success doesn't take away the challenges, the anxiousness, the fear, the worry. I was a business owner myself, and there's those times where the revenue is great and everything is awesome, and those times when challenge happens, and all of a sudden you start to feel like, man, this thing is about to fail, and it's all my fault, right? It's those belief systems that you have that come along even when you're successful. So it's anybody of any industry, to be totally honest. But what I find is when you're striving for those things beyond what you're comfortable, those are the people that find the holes, the challenges, the issues that are kind of holding them back. And those are the people we love to work with.
I find that the holes start happening once it is going well. And on the way up, you're working everything out, and it's yeah. Anyway, that's awesome. So, whatever stage you're at, have a chat to Mark Collins. I'll put his info in the show notes. And what was your book, Mark?
Life Mastery: Living Life by Design, Not by Default.
Gotcha. And is that on the website?
It's on the website and you can get it on Amazon. I tell people if you want to find it on Amazon, do Mark with a K, Mark W. Collins. I found out when I wrote the book that there's a lot of Mark Collinses who are authors out there. So I put the middle initial to try and help people to get to where they wanted to be.
There you go. Mark W. Collins. Did you think of starting to use that as your name for everything?
Well, it feels like it's a good author name. To be totally honest, I've only written one book, but it felt more official.
Yeah, it does. And for Google, it's good. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on and playing and sharing all of that, Mark Collins. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. I'm going to wrap things up. That was fun. Some very interesting guests doing interesting things. If you want to reach out to them, I'll put everything to contact them in the show notes. Thanks for listening. I'm going to see you